Right, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to wait a second to make sure this is streaming. And ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris, and this is Barnum 11970. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to check out one of my videos. And I have one I really hope you will pay attention to and listen, because this is very important to me. Now, there have been maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 of these type of comments, so it's not a major big deal, but especially since I've received so many new subscribers. I mean, I've gotten 400 new subscribers in the past week alone, if not more. A lot of it has to do with that video I made showing the difference between the Trump crowds and the Hillary crowds, showing the difference in how the media lies to you. Now, this is something that is seemingly surprising a lot of people. But it doesn't surprise me and plenty of my viewers, because they have seen this stuff for a long time now. This is not something new. But it did awaken, or at least get the attention of a lot of new people, and that's a good thing. But in 1 or 2 emails I got, and I want to address this. My last video and my last couple of videos were talking about the fact that, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I believe that Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are in one way, shape, or form working together, if not directly, indirectly, for a corrupt system. Now, I know people want to believe that we have a system that's based on people going to vote, and our votes matter, and somebody's going to come along and change the world for the better. I understand that. We've been told all our lives, from school, from our television, from our politicians, that this is the way it's supposed to be. And we put trust in people. It's like a family member. You put your trust in them, and you are not wanting to believe that somebody could do evil or somebody could do wrong. Now, as far as, and that's why I titled this Fear Porn, Sugarcoating, or Truthful Warnings. I've had a couple of people recently, and again, it's a minor thing, but I still want to address it because, like I said, there's plenty of new people. There are people saying that the things I'm talking about, especially recently, about the fact that I believe, and again, my opinion, that Trump and Hillary are working together to ultimately have Obama make a 3rd term. Some people are calling it fear porn. It's fearful stuff. Now, I don't believe in that stuff, because my thing is, if you sugarcoat, if you pretend something doesn't exist, who are you really protecting? And to me, people like, for example, Alex Jones and other channels like that are always talking about war and death and destruction, and, you know, FEMA camps are going to come take you away, or other channels where aliens are going to come and probe you and things like that. To me, that's fear porn. But you cannot just say, oh, everything's, you know, wonderful. You can't look at life through rose-colored glasses, because then you are not paying attention to what's going on, and you will be easily led. Now, like, for example, and I use the Titanic all the time because most people know about the Titanic. How it sunk is irrelevant to what I'm about to say, but pay attention to this and keep this in mind. Let's say I was on the Titanic, and of course it was a luxury cruiser. You know, all of the most influential people and the who's who were the people that were on that first voyage. They wanted to be seen. It was a very political event. It was very publicized, to the point where even people today, over 100 years later, still know about it. Now, let's say I was on that boat and I got word, and again, how it sunk is irrelevant, but let's assume the story of the iceberg is the truth, and I get a warning in advance, an hour beforehand, that the boat is going to hit that iceberg and it's going to sink and everybody's going to die. Now, if I went around to everybody on the deck and said, listen, I want to let you know that I got a good authority to find out that we are going to hit an iceberg and we're going to crash and sink. You need to prepare. And they could laugh, or they could say you're crazy, or they could ignore it. And I can go to the ship's captain and say, listen, I just want to let you know I have a good source that says that we are going to hit into an iceberg if you don't change your course. And they just dismiss you as crazy because, you know, the captain will say, well, who are you? Are you a captain? Do you know anything about boats? I've been doing this for decades. Who are you to tell me what to do? Get out of my, you know, get out of my office. Now, is that scary? It sure can be, but as we know, with the history of the Titanic, it did sink. So what I'm trying to do is trying to give information before things happen so you can change them. Because imagine if I was on the Titanic, and imagine if I did tell the captain about the potential hitting into an iceberg beforehand, and what do you think would happen if they changed course? It would have never happened. So you're actually avoiding a dangerous situation by not choosing to ignore it or attack it. So my channel is all about, it's my opinion, it's through my research, it's what I feel is right. Now that doesn't guarantee it's going to be right, because trust me when I say, I want a system that works. I think of all the people, Trump has the best chance. I like what he has to say. I've listened to almost every single speech he's given. After a while, it's pretty much the same thing over and over again. He says the same thing over and over again. But at one point, I was watching all three a day, every day, and they range between an hour and a half long. So I've listened to what he says, and he says some good things. But he also says things that you cannot just decide to not pay attention to. And you cannot forget the fact that Trump donated millions of dollars to the Clinton foundations. And he even says himself, and I have it on one of my videos, where he says they are good friends. He really likes her. Did you guys hear of anything in the past 8 years that made them fight to the point where he can't stand her anymore? Has there anything been publicized? Because if there hasn't, then why all of a sudden would they go from being friends for decades, as Trump has said in his own words, to all of a sudden to the point where he can't stand her? And to me, that seems like a staged event, a play, getting you set up for what I feel could be happening. Now, do I want to be right? No, I wish I could say, you know, the votes count and everybody's going to go, and people, as you could see on my video, who you're going to vote for, Hillary or Trump. I mean, only 2 people said Hillary, and they had, at the end of their comment, said, oh, I was only kidding. So everybody is saying Trump. Now, obviously, I only have 300 people that even watch the video, so, I mean, you can't take that as a major scale. But still, it's showing I haven't yet to see any Hillary people climbing on board. So where are they? So I want Donald Trump to win. I want him to be the person that finally does what a president says they're going to do. And trust me, if he becomes president and he does change the world for the better, that helps us all. So I'll be more than happy to make a video saying I was wrong. But I've been studying this stuff for years. I can see the writing on the wall, and you can't go through life with rose-colored glasses thinking everything's fine. You know, if you're walking towards an edge of a cliff and you want to close your eyes and pretend it's not there, well, good luck when you fall down to the ground. I mean, the fear is only if you allow something to continue. You know, there's a reason why if there's a crime, they call the police. Now, the police could turn around and say, oh, that's fear porn. Oh, you're just being negative. Or maybe you call them because you want them to stop the evil from happening. That's where people have to get this stuff. So in my opinion, from my research, I really feel strongly about the fact that Donald Trump is playing the good cop, Hillary is playing the bad cop, and in the end, it's all to set up the fact that either she'll be too sick to continue, or she will be indicted for all the things they've been putting out. Because again, WikiLeaks, did they put out stuff on all political parties, or was it just on Hillary Clinton? So you telling me that Hillary Clinton is the sole controller of the Democratic Party, that no one has influenced her in any way? No one's given her the information? She literally just goes around and does what she pleases? That's what they make it seem like. I mean, what's disappointing is people seem to forget that about a month and a half ago, it was proven through those WikiLeaks emails that Bernie Sanders never had a chance. He was saying in the beginning that the system is rigged and he will have no chance. He was ignored and he was laughed at. And it proved to be right. And yet now people are saying, oh, it won't happen this time. Why are you doing that to yourself? Because if you continue down this path and you pretend that nothing's wrong and the system is legit, even though there's proof just the past month or so to suggest otherwise, it also shows the fact that Hillary lied to the FBI, and she's still not only not in jail, but she's still able to run for president. And she's getting to the point where I don't think they really thought her health would be an issue. But now they've invested so much into her and there's no turning back, they're literally at times propping her up during her speeches. And you could see it sometimes where she's giving a speech, then all of a sudden her eyes lock in one spot and she drifts away for a second and doesn't know where she is. There's something mentally wrong with her due to the blood clots in her brain. But because of the fact that we're almost close to the finish line, and they can't pick anybody else at this point, because that's the girl they picked a long time ago, the woman, they're trying to literally prop her up to keep it going. I mean, I don't want to be right, but like I said, I made a video back in November of 2015 saying that Hillary Clinton was going to be president back then based on what I was seeing in the media and how they were programming people by getting a lot of powerful women in movies, in comic books, in TV shows, because they're trying to get the general public used to women in power. Well, last I checked, there's only one woman that is going to become potentially president, and that's Hillary. And I think the whole purpose of Trump is to get everybody's attention, because this stuff is getting the news to the point where the average person who didn't give a crap about elections is all of a sudden really heavily invested in this one. So Donald Trump is telling you some of the things you want to hear. He's talking about how the political system is corrupt, which is backed up by the WikiLeaks. He's talking about how the media is corrupt. He's talking about all the problems that we need to fix, and all the people are climbing on board saying, yes, finally, somebody that understands us. And we're all trying to say we could relate to Donald Trump. Anybody out there a billionaire? You're really telling me you could relate to somebody that way? I mean, we're kidding ourselves here. And he's not going to end up president. And do I want that to happen? No, I definitely don't want Hillary, because we already know what we're going to get with Hillary. It's going to be the same old, same old. At least with the fact with Donald Trump, he says the things that people want to hear. Now, didn't Obama do that when he was running for the first time to be president? Told you a lot of things. Remember when he talked about all that positive change and how he was going to make the government more, accessible, less secrecy? How'd that work out? But when they are not president and they want to get your vote, they're going to tell you everything that you want to hear. And a lot of it has to do with charisma. So I don't want this to come true. I don't want to be right. But I'll tell you this much. On November 8th, when they do the quote-unquote votes and millions of people go, and they're all going to sit there saying they're going to vote for Trump, and then they're going to find out Hillary was selected, people are going to be pissed. And a lot of people are going to start causing fights. And who's to say the government doesn't plant people into certain places and try and start fights? Because people are generally followers. So if you want to attack me or criticize me because I'm trying to see through the BS, that's fine. Because trust me, I will be proud to make a video saying I'm wrong on this one, because that means we're going to be in a better place than I thought. And if people don't share this stuff, if they don't watch any of my other videos, there's nothing I could really do to help, because it's disappointing that my video that talked about a week ago about the crowds has right now currently about 53,000 views. It's my 7th or 8th all-time most viewed video, and it's only a week old. The others took over 3 years. My videos after that are under 1,000 apiece, some of them under 500. And I've received about 400 to 500 new subscribers in the past week alone. So I don't know if YouTube is stopping people or they just don't want to see other things. You can't sit there covering your eyes and covering your ears and saying, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. Because here's the thing. If I'm wrong about saying how Trump is basically there to get the people that normally wouldn't vote to be emotionally involved, and that Hillary Clinton doesn't end up president and ends up, before she could swear herself in, she gets either sick and can't do it, or she ends up being indicted for the email scandals, because all of a sudden just something else will come out, which will be the quote-unquote smoking gun. If I'm wrong, then nothing happens. But what if you're wrong? What if all the things I've been trying to warn people about in advance over a year ago, where people could have actually done something about it, and we could still do something about it at this point. But what if you're wrong, and it ends up all the things that I was warning people about happen? Do you think you can do anything after that? So yes, is that kind of scary? Of course it is. But you know what? That's reality. If you were lying on a train track and somebody tells you a train's going to come and run you over, yeah, that sounds scary, and yeah, it might ruin your day. You might be there partying with a girl or a guy or a bunch of friends saying, oh, it's a great time hanging out on the tracks. Why are you ruining my buzz by trying to tell me a train's coming? Well, the reason they're doing that is because they want you to not get run over by a train. So if you get off the tracks, nothing bad will happen. So if people want to pretend that this doesn't exist, and if you really want to believe a billionaire who has been in the system for long enough to know how the system works, and he's talked about how he's used people in government, all the people he says he has a problem with, he's donated millions of his dollars, I'm sure, to get a lot of his construction, things overlooked over time. I don't know, I'm not part of it. But I know a lot of people in the construction industry, and you got to grease a lot of palms to get things inspected the right way or get them done quickly or have certain things overlooked. If you think his hands are clean, you're just kidding yourself. So if I'm the buzzkill because I'm trying to help people by telling them through my research of the past 5 years of what could be a possibility, see it for what it is. Because like I said, if I'm wrong, nothing happens. But if you're wrong, then what? So I don't want Obama's third term. He has not kept any of his promises. I mean, one of the biggest things he's famous for is his golfing. I wish I knew what else to say. So I'm not going to make this any longer because I know that when it's too long, people don't pay attention. What I'm asking you for, whether you're watching this live, or you watch it a day or two or a week or two later, you please do me the favor, if you care and you want to make change, please share these videos, post them on your social networks, get this out there, make people pay attention. Because I don't want to be right. How many people, when they make videos, say they're right, and they have such an ego that they're like, they're right no matter what? I don't want to be right on this. I want to be wrong. I will be proud to make a video that says, guess what? All those things that I was trying to warn you about ended up not being true. My bad. But if I'm right, then what do? It's a possibility. In an infinite universe with endless possibilities, I can see the path that we're headed down. And I just don't like the fact that, yes, Donald Trump says some good things, but there's plenty of things I have a warning sign about. And if you check it, one of his daughters was dating or is still dating one of the Rockefellers, or it was a Rothschild, one of the two. I think it's the Rockefellers. You don't get into that part of the family without knowing what's going on, even if they're just dating. He's a billionaire. They haven't taken him out. Yeah, they discredit him because that makes him justify saying, oh, look, he's the good guy because, look, the media is not talking about him. Well, you ever hear of reverse psychology? People want to think that Donald Trump is going to be the next Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, but if you think he's that much of a good person, your head is too far in the sand. And again, I'm sorry if this is a buzzkill. I'm sorry if it ruins your pipe dream. But you're putting your trust in other people when I've said so many times that if you don't do things on your own and you're always dependent on other people, you're hoping that the person you put your energy into is trustworthy. And yes, he's not the typical politician, but he's been around them. Watch the video I made a couple of days ago and you hear it from his own voice. Back in 2008, he was talking about the fact that he's known the Clintons for years. He's donated to their foundations. They have partied together. You think now all of a sudden they hate each other? Come on, they're putting on a play and we're being played. It's time to be smarter than that because we don't want to get to that point where the ship is sinking. Because I'll tell you this much, if that ship is sinking and no one wants to pay attention, I'll be taking a life raft. And people might be laughing that because the boat hasn't sunk yet. And people are going to think, oh, look at this crazy person. He's on a luxury liner, the Titanic. It's a beautiful, luxurious boat. And he's taking a little life raft and swimming away. What an idiot. What a fool. But then I get to watch from the distance as their ship sinks. I don't want people to be on that boat. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing it to become popular, because trust me, I'm not going to win any popular contests with the things I talk about. But I guarantee you, if I end up being right, I don't want to have to say I told you so. be careful. So I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen. Please share this, post it on your social networks, check out my other videos. I'm trying to help the best I can. I'm not an insider. I don't get paid to talk about this. You know, I'm here to I'm just a regular person that's tired of the corruption, tired of the BS. And that's why I don't have a bank account. That's why I'm my own boss. And yes, people talk about the fact that I have that donate button on there. If you ever want me to show a video of the amount of people that have donated, I've made since 2013, I think a total of $9. So people always make up stories and stuff, but I'm doing it because, you know what, I invest my time. There should be some kind of compensation, but this is probably the first time you've even heard me even mention it. But, you know, there's other people that'll just point fingers and say things. So anyway, leave a comment, hit subscribe if you haven't, check out my other videos, and especially if you haven't seen it yet, watch the video called The Truth About the United States Law and You, the extended version. It's an hour-and-a-half long, but I promise you, if you know nothing about the government, you will walk out of there saying, how come we never saw this coming? And just be careful. I love you all. I hope you have a great day, and no dream is worth staying asleep if you're in a room that's on fire. And if you understand what that means, you'll wake up. Thanks for watching.